Applying an overly wooden literalism to Psalm 93 and Isaiah 13 is not only absurd, it produces contradiction in the scriptures. Well, g'day, it is Ken Colson here again from Creation Unfolding, and we're following on in this series on flat-earthism. Now, another false flat earth teaching that is directly related to an overly literalistic view of the earth's foundations, and that's what we sort of covered in the last video, is the belief that the earth does not move, and thus it doesn't rotate or move through an orbit. So, for example, in Psalm 93, 1-2, the psalmist writes, "The Lord reigneth. He is clothed with majesty. The Lord is clothed with strength, wherewith he hath girded himself. The world also is established, that it cannot be moved. Thy throne is established of old. Thou art from everlasting." Now, commenting on this verse, flat earther Caspian Sargensen says, the fact that the earth has been established and that it shall never be moved is strong language indicating it cannot and will never move. And this is exactly what the verse states. If God said it shall never be moved, then it must not rotate or revolve unless God somehow forgot that it rotates and revolves. Now, once again, we need to be mindful of the poetic nature of the Psalms. And this psalm is no exception. Notice that in verse 1, we are told that God is clothed in majesty and strength. In verse 3, we are told that floods have lifted up their voice. Now, to be consistent, flat earthers must believe that majesty and strength are a sort of a fabric-like substance that literally covers God's tangible physical body, and then water has some kind of a voice. As I've said before, metaphor permeates all Hebrew poetry, and so the good Bible student must take a step back to see what the author of Scripture is trying to convey. So let's take a closer look at the psalm. Now, as we've already seen, terms like pillars of the earth and foundations of the earth are often used in the poetic portions of Scripture metaphorically to convey a deeper spiritual truth. And this is exactly what the psalmist is doing here. Using classical Hebrew parallelism, the psalmist first crafts his main point in verse 1a and verse 2, that God is strong and powerful. The sentence found in 2b is a parallel thought that helps solidify the main point. The world also is established, that it cannot be moved. So, just as the earth is stable, so God is stable. In other words, Israel is safe and secure even against all of the powerful nations of the earth because God is all-powerful. That's the gist of the psalm. The reference to the earth's immovability is not meant to prompt a scientific analysis. Rather, the reader is asked to draw on their observational experience of the earth under their feet. We all know that the earth is solid and that it's not going anywhere. And this is where the metaphor comes into the equation. As the earth is stable, well, so is God. That's the point. Using passages like this to demonstrate that the earth does not move through space or rotate on its axis, it not only misses the metaphorical intent, but also makes a category mistake by applying scientific methodology to observational methods of interpretation. For those that missed that video, go back and watch part 1. Now, as it turns out, the flat earth belief that the earth does not move is itself contradicted by other scriptures. In Isaiah 13:13, for example, God says, "Therefore I will shake the heavens, and the earth shall remove out of her place in the wrath of the Lord of hosts and in the day of his fierce anger." What about Psalm 82:5? "They have neither knowledge nor understanding. They walk about in darkness. All the foundations of the earth are shaken." Applying an overly wooden literalism to Psalm 93 is not only absurd, it produces contradiction in the scriptures. And this is why we must let Scripture interpret Scripture. Well, that's all from me today. Ken Colson here at Creation Unfolding. Don't forget to look out for future segments on this series on flat-earthism. There's going to be a few more videos yet. Don't forget to pound that like button, subscribe for easier access. And of course, there is a link in the description if you'd like to give. And as always, I'm always asking for prayer. So if you could take a few seconds now to pray, I'd really appreciate it. Thank you and goodbye.